right?
Yes, sir, it was good.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. So let's understand about what is data. See, the people, I think, literally, I can see some more than 50% of this batch is relatively have took some course related with the data. Okay, data analyst. I mean, the designation. Everyone is going to deal with the data, no doubt in it. But the designation itself, they are looking for something with data analytics, data scientist. So understanding about data is much more important. The significance of data is also important. See, data is going to increase day by day. There is no something a downfall for data. Okay. The reason we are considering this data is businesses are growing day by day. And for business, we need some data-driven decisions to step up the business. Okay. So data is something oil of the century. Okay. Eventually, if tomorrow, if this world is getting destroyed also, again a data comes into the play. How many men have died, how many women have died, how many children. So we can able to still are taking from data from that, even from the destruction or the construction. Okay. So data is something which is going to grow, whatever that happens in this world. Right. So for businesses, right, they take this data, they will convert this data into an useful information. And from that information, they will take some important decisions in their business to grow their business. This is why data is something more important today. The people who have data a lot, they are the kings here. Okay. So today the big players, they all have our datas. Google, Meta, Amazon, they all have our datas. Okay. So to one basic understanding what is the data is, if I put something like a number 5, right? So this 5 can be anything. This is actually a data. Okay, this data can be anything. It can be a roll number, it can be an age, it can be a number plate in a car, or it can be anything. All right. So if I give some meaningful variable to it, like it is a roll number is equal to 5. So I'm telling there is some useful information that 5 is a roll number. Okay. So now this becomes an information. So an unprocessed information is a data. A data is a raw fact or a figure. Okay. So we process the data to get some information out of it. Okay. So going forward, whatever that we gonna discuss about is about the processing of data, processed data. Okay. So and I told you that this is a roll number, right? So we have lots of data like this. Okay. So these data all goes into a table. Okay. For example, if I consider this as a students table, okay, this data will have a roll number. This table will have a student's name, student marks, an address, phone number, email address. It goes on, right? So what I'm doing is I'm inserting all the data into the table. Understood? So this is how tables are formed in industries. In real time, we'll be working with multiple tables. Multiple tables. Okay. And sometimes, so not sometimes, major of times, the tables will be linked to each other. Okay. Based on some foreign key relationship. I'll talk about what is that foreign key FK relationship after few time. Okay. So this is understood, right? Data and table.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Even this is also not a part of your syllabus, guys. I hope you have gone through the syllabus. Okay. Make sure don't have silence, break your silence, because this is a virtual class. So continuing it, data on a broader classification, we can able to divide this data into a structured data and unstructured data. Okay. So structured data is nothing about the data inside the rows and columns. Okay. Unstructured data can be in an audio, can be a video, can be a text, paragraph, or anything. Understood? Understood. So
Yes, sir.
going forward
Yes,
for
sir.
this course, right, we're gonna discuss only the structured data. We are not going to deal anything with this unstructured data. Okay. See, just hold on here and come back to the same flow, and we're just going to switch from the first diagram to the second diagram then and there. Okay. Now we have understood what is the data, and data are getting into the tables. Okay. So these tables are putting something called database. Okay. See, I'm just giving you an outer understanding and an overall understanding on how things are working. Okay. So assume this is a database diagram. This is a, it looks like, but not exactly. So this is a database. Okay. In real time, we have different databases. Okay. I mean, different databases in sense. For example, in real time working, right? You will not be working with one environment. There will be something called developers environment, development environment, and testing environment. So the production is nothing about, see, whatever that you do in production, it will be reflected in your end users as application. Okay. See, if you open your mobile and if you see something called your Yono application or your Access mobile banking application or your HTC mobile application, these all which you are seeing is nothing about code. Okay. It is nothing about some code is running behind. Okay. Some code is running behind. If you click something, if something is opening, if something is, you can able to download a statement, everything is something called a code which is running backside. Okay. So which code is this? Is a code that you put in the production. Okay, the codes that you put into the production server. Okay, that is the thing that is seen in your end as an end user. You are seeing in your mobile. Okay, so before this code has been developed, these guys would have put this code in the UAT. Okay, like for testing. First, they would have developed in the developer environment. Okay, so for instance, for one application, they will have three servers. Okay, for production server, UAT testing server, and dev server. In dev server, they will have all these development kind of things. They will develop things, develop, write code. They will do all the test. Developers will do the work here, and then once they developed, right, they will give to the testing team. Testing team will do in the UAT. Okay, developer once they deployed the code. Deployed means pushing the code towards the UAT. Okay, in the UAT server, testers will test it. Okay, they will test with all the test cases. They will write some test cases. They will test it if this is running good, or they will try to find mistakes with the developer code. And once the testing is done, they will give some approvals and things will go to the production. Okay, they will call this as a release. They will find one particular time, and that particular time they will down the server and they will upload it, or they will do it. Sometimes you'll find, right, we are right now in upgrade, there will be some downtime. Please visit us after 30 minutes. You'll see something in the application, right, in your any of your Yono application, maintenance is going on, something will be going, right. So it's all, sometimes they will downtime it and they will upgrade it. Okay, so for these all these things we need some storage. Okay, so that is where we have a database for dev, a database for UAT, database for prod. Okay, so coming to this database, right? We have multiple databases. Okay, but the same tables will be there in all the three. Okay, so these databases are to be managed by something that is called RDBMS. Okay, RDBMS. So RDBMS means nothing about relational database management system. RDBMS is nothing about relational database management system. Understood? So what is relational database management system is, there is a relation between the tables. That is why it is named as relational database management system. There is a relationship between the tables. Okay. Relationship for a basic understanding. For example, here you have this is a student table. This is a course table. Okay. So in course table, you have course ID, you have a course name. Okay. So in the student table, there will be one more column called custom course ID. So we can able to understand that student one I've took some course from the student table. So with this one, okay, this one is, I'll go to this table, search for this one. What is the subject name for one? Okay, SQL. understand that way. Okay, this are all kind of normalization rules, which is not a part of your syllabus. So normalization, we have 1NF, 2NF, 3NF, 4NF, 5NF, those kinds of stuff. So we'll be working on those. Okay. So this is called RDBMS. So RDBMS, right? We have different RDBMS. One is MySQL, Oracle, PostgreSQL. Uh, just don't worry about my handwriting. I'm pronouncing it right. Just capture my words. And MS SQL Server. Okay. Many servers and engines are like that for RDBMS. So these all things which I've written here, right? This is all for the coming back to the same second diagram, all for the structured data. These are all for the structured data. Okay. Then if there a question arises, then what is for the unstructured data? Yeah, we have for unstructured data. One of the most commonly used is MongoDB. There are also other things like Cassandra or something, but I've not used it. MongoDB I've used it. MongoDB is an unstructured to store all these kinds of unstructured data inside it in MongoDB. Okay. So these are called as NoSQL databases, MongoDB and all. And these Oracle, MySQL, these are called as SQL databases, SQL DBs. Understood? Any doubts on this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Good. Thanks for the response. So, coming to this, coming back to the topic of data and okay. So you're talking about the data, how it is get stored, how it is get thing. So now we understood what is a data, what is a table, what is the. I'll tell you one more thing. I may forget. Okay. To take a table. To take a table. This table has different names. I can call this table as table. I can call this table as entity. Entity. Okay. Similarly, the column names, right? There are different names for this columns. I can call it as column. I can call it as futures. I can call it as attributes. I can call it as variables. I can call it as fields. Different names for the columns. If in industry, if someone is telling you take that field, change that field, change it, take that attribute, change that attribute. Hey, please take a note of these things because these things will not be taught to you from anyone. Okay, until if you are experienced, it's fine. A freshers, right? I'm talking about the freshers and non-IT people. This prod, UAT, dev, and these columns, different names. It will not be taught. Okay, you have to understand by the way. Okay. So if you are not familiar, take a note. Have a rough note nearby you. Take a note of these other names because then and there I'll use this. If you wanted to alter the attribute, then you should not scratch your head. What is this attribute? What is this guy telling? The word which is not known to me. Okay. So this is the different names for the columns. Similarly for the um, rows, we can have different names called. We can call it as rows. We can call it as records. Or data science people, they will call it as data points as well. Data science and data analysts, they will call it as data points as well. Okay, one record is one data point. Understood? Yeah, someone is raising the hand. Please don't raise hand, just unmute and speak up. Okay. You have doubt, Anuja?
Yeah, sorry, sir. Can you repeat once again, sir? If you don't mind, I'm taking a note.
Which point you want to repeat? You want to repeat right
Yes,
the first?
made a note columns, fields, and what are the other things that for the columns, what are the names that we will be using?
One is attribute.
Attribute. Okay, sir.
One is futures.
Okay, sir.
One is variables. This
Okay, sir.
variable words is something people will use in data science a lot. Well, dependent variable, very important word in data science point of view.
Okay.
Attributes, futures, columns, fields. Uh, Very rarely people will call it as a tuple, but it's fine. These are enough. Mostly they will be calling by these names: attributes, futures, variables, columns, fields. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And records they will call it as rows, records. These are all one kind of things. Sometimes call it as data points. Okay. And table they will call it as entity. Understood? Okay. Please don't raise your hand. Just unmute yourself and speak up. Okay. So that because I'm sharing screen, I can't come back to the Teams then and there to see that if someone is raising hand or someone is posting something in the chat. Okay. Speak up. If you are posting something in chat, speak up and tell me that I have doubt. I have put it in the chat. Okay. And feel free to call by my name. So you got something called understanding about the tables and things. Okay, let's have an understanding about what is SQL is. SQL is nothing about, people call it as SQL, people call it as SQL. Nothing makes a difference. SQL is nothing about structured query language. As the name is suggesting structured, we are going to deal with tables and columns and rows. Okay, tables. So what is a structured query languages? We have a database. I am the user. So user may be anyone. User may be a data analyst, user may be a data scientist, user may be a business analyst, users may be a even a stakeholder as well. Okay, business side client also. Anyone can be a user, but he wants to take something out from the database to see something from the database. Database only having all the information, right? I wanted to take one information from the data, or if I want to put something inside the database, I need some mediator, right? I need someone to do that. So the language that I'm going to tell database to insert and retrieve is something called a SQL, structured query language. Okay, SQL or SQL, any names that you can able to make it up. Understood this? Any deviation from this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Got it. Okay. Now let's understand about few things. Just give me a minute. We'll work on the data types. Okay. People who have installed Oracle 11G, as everyone have installed Oracle 11G and Oracle SQL Developer.